Go ahead.
We're good. All right, let's call this meeting to order at 1:29 p.m.
Rudy Castellano.
Present. We can hardly hear you.
I know, I think it's the, let's see.
Hold on. There you go.
Counselor Michael Montoya.
Present.
Mike Cousins.
Present.
Mike Martinez.
Yeah.
Travis Martinez.
Present.
Mike Sweeney. David Marquez.
Present.
There is a quorum.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented on this with everybody. Please. I'll second it.
We have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes of April 3rd meeting.
Did I turn it on?
Say that again. Say that again.
I just said we'll move to approval of the minutes. Of April 3rd meeting. Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion, even though I wasn't there, but it's on.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike Martinez, a second by Rudy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Talking to us.
There is no
Any
public,
input?
no, there's no public input.
Thank you.
for this meeting.
Move to business item. Presentation of the Peterson Dam project update.
So there's a short presentation for the Peterson Dam. You guys want me to go ahead and run through it?
Yeah, you can touch on all the highlights.
Pretty much when I did this, it was pretty much just all of the main thing on the progress of the project, which are just the highlights, and the financial summary. To this date, only funded amount for phase 1, 2, 3, and 4A is $3,139,909.29. Phase 3 funded amount is $2,530,855. Total invoice for phase 3 as of April 11, 2025 was $98,042.71. Percentage of the phase 3 funding spent was only 4% of the total cost. The project progress, overall project completion is approximately 5%. Final design sites visit was conducted February 25th to the 26th, 2025, involving team members across multiple technical disciplines. Recent ongoing activities, there's geotechnical work that's being conducted. Geotechnical field and safe work plans developed and approved by the Mexico State Engineer's Office. There's a drilling investigation that was scheduled and it has begun now on April 20, 2025, and will be completed by May 31st of 2025. Vessels locations include left and right abutments, foundation flow, and an inactive fault zone. There's also the design and technical development, establishing technical criteria compliance with the state and federal guidelines, implementation of structural stability analysis supporting the concrete arch dam design, development of mechanical pumping and valving layouts, evaluation of existing electrical infrastructures to support the new dam and auxiliary systems. It's a hard word for me to say, sorry about that. And then, of course, we have hydrology and environmental compliance. They're going to review an update of flood hydrology that reflects post-fire runoff and soil conditions. There's going to be an assessment of previous USR reports of engineers, section 404 permit conditions for current applicability. There's coordination with the new county floodplain administrator for CLOMR, condition letter of map revisions, planning and compliance. And of course, there's the coordination and project management, regular coordinating meetings, between AECOM, the CD, and the New Mexico City Engineer's Office. Ongoing administrative activities include project setup, financial management, and of course, invoicing. And the next steps now are, of course, just initiate the drilling that has started as of April 20, 2025, and will conclude May 31st, 2025. Continue final design development, integration of the technical findings, advanced environment permitting, and of course the homework coordination efforts, and update schedule and budget projections following completion of the drilling phase.
What this building is actually the dam.
It's right there at the toe of the dam, and they're going to be taking out core samples.
Okay, the inspection is for what purpose again? Well, there's an inspection they conducted. It's for the purpose of ensuring that the dam is over there or what?
No, so this is for the new dam.
A new dam.
Yes, but it'll take the place for the old Peterson dam.
And then how long will that take?
So right now,
You said 5% completed, right?
yes, sir. So right now, we are projecting that it'll be done November, December, the final designs. It's a projection because we still have to go, of course, to city engineer's office. So that's pending on the results that they submitted. State engineer's office accepts. So we have an estimated time frame of November, December
For the plans.
to be finalized. Yes, sir.
Okay, but then the completion of the actual,
Of the project,
yeah.
that'll follow. So I can't speak to that now.
What is your estimation that it'll take the ones that's approved?
Well, once it's approved, we have to get funding.
Oh, good. I thought those funding already.
There's funding for this phase of the project, yes. But the construction phase is still,
But there is money in the coffers for it, something when you're taking, right?
so far.
Okay. So yeah, that kind of comes by surprise everything. Okay, the other thing too is, on the diversion around the dam, in case there's flooding and stuff. How was that? The place already?
The levee system.
Yeah.
So right now, AECOM came down last month and they conducted a small survey. So once they get those plans up and set, then we'll talk about the next steps of finishing it up. Because right now I want to make sure the levee system was never in place for the new dam because they thought it would be sufficient and we were filming and all of that. If we have to allow the levee system, I think that it will coincide with the new dam.
But it's not putting the city or anything at risk.
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Innovation of the banks and from the very down.
It'll take the place of the dam right now.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Is there an intent to stop the leakage that has occurred with the dam that exists right now?
So
Or have
basically,
you done stop all that leakage? Is there an intent to stop that?
so basically that's the dam that we have right now. It'll be fully knocked down. And there'll be a whole new dam to take its place. So the leakage that's occurring on the dam, it'll,
Correctly, there was an issue with the environment department because it created a wetland downstream.
yes, sir. And as a matter of fact, we're working, AECOM had a meeting with the environment department 2 months ago, and they're working on a permitting for that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because the initial leak on the dam did create a wetland.
So, relocated that.
We'll see what happens when the permit, all that comes out. Like I said, AECOM, myself, and then we did meet, so Depending on what goes back and forth, the paperwork, and we'll find out the results from that.
Excuse me, Shawnee? Anyway, let's go, let the river, I know the swing joined us.
Yes.
I'd like to let the records know that Mr. Sweeney joined us.
Okay, noted.
So the plan and design is only 5%, I think.
Completely now.
Was there a permit you were pending on with the state engineer's office?
That was the initial funding and everything, yes.
But the funding for the dam itself is secured through the handling limit.
No, this part was an $8 million grant that the city had already received prior to the 98 million.
Yeah, for the plan and design.
For the plan and design, yes, sir.
For construction.
For construction, once I get the direction from either executive office or governing body, yes, sir.
Yeah. So right now,
Right now, we're using the $8 million grant.
there were 3 plans. To understand, there was 3 plans.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And which one are they going with?
The concrete arch dam.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And they're the ones that turn around?
So it came down and the city made a determination on the arch dam.
See?
Yes, sir.
Mhm. Yeah.
Meaning
Director
between
and manager.
utilities and executive office. With the recommendation, of course, from the engineer.
Mhm.
And of course, the recommendation from state engineer's office.
And was that the cheapest one or the more expensive one?
It was more of the logical one, which meaning it wasn't the cheapest nor the expensivest one.
This plan, when it completed, how many dollars are going to take to? Or this is just on the ground?
This is just the dam.
Yeah, so
This is just the dam.
it's not, really, it's not going to require any additional help
No, sir.
to the effort to that.
No, sir.
And it's going to have an overflow
Yes.
into the administrator or?
So right now they're making that overflow to still go down that same way. We'll find out as the plan and design for the last phase goes through.
And it's not going to take any more water than it has now.
I believe we're gonna be able to add a couple more acre feet to the storage.
So, that dam was anything about that. Related to the diagnosis. You feel before capacity.
Right now, we have it pretty much to 95%.
When this all starts happening, I might create it out again.
Yes, sir. So, we've been talking with AECom and everything for when that time does come. The utilities, well, let's just put it, the water treatment plant will utilize all that water. Or majority of the water, because there's only so much water we can take from the dam, because the bottom part is pretty much was full, so we will be able to use that. But whatever the city can use, we're going to utilize all that water. So that wasn't going to waste any of it.
And we have what? That project, that's a different project?
That's a whole different project, yes, sir.
And I just asked one of these questions here, but body here, the board knows.
So I'll walk with us back on? Is that what put it back on? It's off.
It's still off. He's just saying if it does happen to go back.
I thought it was a good plan, but.
When you knock it down,
Still on the table.
will you be dredging for a new finger?
That is, we're looking into that, yes. So that way we can dredge all of that out as we knock it down. Yes, to get it all cleaned up.
Because we had, I mean, it's,
I know I told you last time, I can't remember.
I think it was 5 feet, I'm not sure.
No, I think it was more than that.
More than that, yeah.
I think it was more. I want to say it was more than 5 feet. But there is a lot of silt in there because
That was a Christmas.
GZA, when they did a kind of a survey, and they took the past history with what they've got now, and they were able to determine how much silt was in there. And I know it was more than 5 feet, but yeah. Sorry, off the top of my head.
I remember that, okay, once a month, I'm going to. Yeah, do something.
So the main purpose, Mr. Chairman, the main purpose of the new dam, for the new project is just to prevent leakage.
Well, right now,
Oh, is it because
well, the dam was constructed in 1912. Yes, sir. So it's already over 100 years old in this time period.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
And it leaks. Okay, if everybody has any other questions on that presentation? Let's move to committee recommendations. Number one, recommendation for approval of addendum number 2 to contract number 397223 with Arthur Regional Landfilling Project.
So this is gonna be to go into addendum number 2 for solid waste tipping fees. The Arthur Regional Landfill is what we utilize to disperse our trash from the solid waste tipping for. And it's located in Whiteymount, this is located in Whiteymount, and it is just to keep us running efficient, keep us flowing, keep the facility safe, and being able to keep efficient for our customers as well.
So it's not nothing new, it's a second, this is the second kind of run.
Yes, sir. This has been something that you utilized for the past few years after. Just this is going to be exactly going to be on the contract base or directly from the contract. I've been doing landfill.
And this is the closest landfill the city has.
Yes, yeah. So the next closest one would be in Neckhead, which more already is at least this way from my work. So
Arthur took over from Berthold again.
I believe so. Yes, sir. I think he took over. I want to say a year and a half, 2 years ago, something of that sort.
It's worth it.
It's worth finding. We haven't had no issues, and the only issue that do happen is, and I can't even say issues, it's more weather permitting. So of course, if it starts snowing, it's windy, and they shut down, we shut down. Those are the only issues. But I mean, if everything is normal weather permitting going on, they do it.
Oh, yeah, inflation, tipping fees, increases.
Those vary, and it just varies, especially for load that's transported out. It varies. I mean, there's some. I don't have a consistent number for you right now. I don't get that for you, but it is something where it's very for load.
Typically stay the same.
Yeah, tipping fees are the same, it's just depending how heavy the load is.
Actually, paying by the money.
Yes, sir.
The only thing that really changes on that are tires and refrigerators.
That's the only thing, yeah. And of course, if anything changes, whatever prices they're charging, we change our price. But I think the last time the tire changed was because of quarter, and this was a few years back as well also. For the longest time, it was per tire, $5 per tire. Now it's like 25%.
Mr. Chair. Are they assisting the city with all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So in case of an emergency situation, where if for whatever reason we have transport truck down or 2 transport trucks down, for whatever reason, we can't contact them when they can't transport trucks.
And for amnesty, maybe you didn't have to shut down the factory.
No, sir, no. And you know what, for Amnesty Day, they were not contracted as well either. They didn't help us. They called out everything themselves. And on this, and another thing I want to note on Amnesty Day too, I know we have discussed this previous, but we determined we're not 1%. Yeah, I want to.
It was a good thing.
You know, when there was a cold day and it was surprisingly as cold as it was, and we still had 157 trucks. So 157 trucks. That, you know,
They're doing more efficient, but it's another big word.
oh,
A lot of people complain about having to say.
I mean, you know what, the wait wasn't long at all. Mind you, we had everybody, all the solid waste staff working that day. So normally, if normal operation, you go right now, we only have 2 people up on top. So in that event, we had everybody there, which was able to mandate each day, which made it a lot faster. So we had an each individual transportation attendant on each day, so it ran a lot more smoother.
I didn't hear a thing.
I appreciate that.
And we're having another one,
June 7th,
inside.
June 7th, yes, sir. June 7th, and then we're gonna follow up with the thing about why in August.
This is before I was even.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And so all the teams on me, they're all there where everybody understood the post on what they were gonna be doing that day. It's a we put it down a safety efficient, honestly. It's a very successful.
Sending for young buses last night.
You know what, the tires, I believe you did fill up a 44 rollout there, I think, I don't want to give out an exact number, but it was somewhere between the range of 150.
Black trailer is that enough for the option?
Yes, we are looking into that as well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to try to get that about it as soon as possible.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we, approve the recommendation to the city council that they, continue to work on concept regional landfill incorporated. Thank you. For the guys for that.
That's right. I'll make it. Okay, we have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Martinez, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, recommendation for approval of addendum number 1 to contract number 40-93-24 with Parsons Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated for lawn and ground maintenance.
So this is a citywide contract. Utilities really doesn't utilize this contract. I know, streets does. And they use it for whatever, and I know that this can also be used for public works. I can't tell you how we use it, but it's a citywide contract, so. It's basically for Parsons to come out and do landscaping, whatever.
But does it go to the city, to the council?
If your recommendation goes to the council.
No, but I'm saying the usage of this contract, how it's used, does it go to the approach you about what person's going to be doing this? Or is it an intent?
It's basically at the discretion of the director. Yes, sir.
So it doesn't require council.
No. So this contract was put in place for the landscaping because I know that they were having issues with this was in the past with the parks and other facilities. So this contract was created for that. And like I said, the only ones I know that have utilized it were the street division. And I think Cardinal did utilize it for parks and so I can speak to that.
But it would be good to know, like, after this first year, how it went and what, you know.
Yeah, well, this contract was created by utilities, like I say, it's citywide, so it's at the discretion of the director of the divisions.
What division?
Well, street, smart, utilities, whomever needs it.
But are you gonna all oversee it, or want to get back to you as to what's going on?
No, sir, usually procurement and finance will be the ones to tell you anything about what has been used and what's correct or has been done.
I think it'd be good for not only us, but the city to go down. You know, in the long run,
Yeah.
what's going on, what are we doing?
Well, what's happening is that at one time, when parks was under the rec center, and then they were lacking with the pandemic. They were lacking a lot of the boards, and they had nothing for us to keep up with all the parks. So this is an idea to help them out. But now parks is on its own department. They're no longer under
It's-
And the recreation center, and we're no longer in streets. So they're on their own basically, and, they have their own department director and their own employees, and this is just to assist, in special projects, for instance, or, but they still get, the directors still have to go through the city manager, get approval and some of the stuff, so it's on as needed basis.
But what I was saying is it would be good to know what we're doing, you know, what this
Area
area,
you utilize, you're seeing it, or
Yeah.
they're utilized, or what type of work they
you know,
do.
what type of work they do, and, you know, after, let's say, 6 months to a year, the report on.
It's actually, it's, the contract will be utilized for. And like I said, it's a citywide contract, so.
But it's the first of its kind, right? I mean, you know. with this
Yes.
company.
We created this one, and then we created another one for concrete.
Yeah.
So we had three different ranges.
That's awesome.
Yes, we were going to do that.
I'll make a motion of the legal recommendation for approval of addendum number one of contract with number 40993-24 with Parson Ron and landscaping approved for Ron and Brown as needed, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll second that motion.
Should we, what do you think? Should we put in any kind of language that we maybe get an update on that usage of this contract or anything?
I think it'd be good, you know, just for us, for everybody's sake, you know, what we're doing, and it's not because I'm being negative, but I think it would be nice to know that it's being utilized.
What could be done too, and this is just my recommendation to you guys, is, Mr. Montoya for doing this, at the direction of the city manager to do a presentation, every 6 months of what each contract is being utilized for and how much it's been spent. If that's the way you guys want to go, that's just my recommendation.
I think it would only make sense, because that way, you know, everybody would know that, hey, this was a viable contract, it makes sense, or next year we don't approve it because it's not being used.
Normally, that question is usually asked when you're review a contract. After that time.
Yeah.
Asking, you know, how much did you spend on the last year? And this is with it, all contracts, that's, that is, well, how much did we spend on this contract last year? Let's say we didn't use it at all, or let's say we spent $1 million.
So it's big,
So it gives us a general idea of what was spent. And if there's a question about that, and then you want that work out. But that, if fixes the equipment, when we started, they were charging us like $100,000 or something like that. And then the last 2 years, it's got down to about $300,000. So it was outrageous a little bit to see what would be if we can turn them down with one stuff. So we, I'm gonna also do ask those kind of questions, but with touch to where nobody knows how much. We'll ask the city manager to give us a report. So there is a report as to how much was spent last year.
And like I said, this contract was created by utilities, but it's a citywide contract, so.
Only where you see what can utilize it.
And also, Mr. Martinez, probably, call the finance director and ask me, this contract, this is the number, how much you spent last year, and who can give them that.
So what I can do is for the next council meeting, Shawnee.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you make a note for me on the next council meeting, not council, but the next utility committee, to give them an update on contract 4093-24 Parsons Landscaping? What divisions have used and, what's the budget has been used for?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's where we see the tool.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't have that information because we haven't utilized them, but I'll get with finance and I'll
I
see.
think it's a good idea. I'm just saying that, you know, it's gonna be nice to know.
And just for the record, majority of all of these, contracts that are coming in, they're all as needed basis.
Okay, I guess that's good for number two. We had a motion by Mr. Sweeney, a second by Mr. Martinez, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to three, recommendation to award RFP number 2024-22 for access control and camera systems to the next level. CamNet Incorporated and Arbiter Cabling and Enter contracts.
So these right here, again, this is not for, well, this is a citywide contract. Whichever division, wants to utilize these, technical services. The majority of this is to help the IT division. And of course, myself and my staff, project management, put together the RFP, put together the contract. So that way, we get these two, yeah, we get these, companies to come in and, help IT. Because sometimes they have to get in a third party and they have to go through quotes, they have to, you know, pretty much see if they have state contracts, and if they don't. This is just to satisfy the procurement for them. And there's a lot of things that IT does, you know, they just help us out at customer service. We had to get Plateau involved and we finally figured out what was going on, we fixed it, the system's up and running, it's even faster. And these companies here are for the technical services for IT. So they can help out the fire department, they can help out the police department. I know they is gonna be utilizing hopefully with IT for solid waste to finally fix their issues. I'm having issues at the wastewater with IT as well, water treatment plant. So basically these will help IT resolve some of the issues. Whatever IT has that has to do with. So if there is some sort of optic that we have to do with, these people will be on to help. And of course, access control, it's got the cameras, you know, it's got a lot of other stuff in it that will help them. Unfortunately, I don't speak IT, so this was put in place to help them, and it's citywide. So if the PD has an issue with their IT and IT can't fix it, well, now they have a contractor with the worker instead of going out and seeking folks and all of that. This will help satisfy the PD.
And immediate versions.
Yes, sir. So these will be as needed basis.
You know, how come IT don't do this thing?
Like I said, what's his name?
Yeah.
Leon had approached me and asked me if I can help with an RFP.
And just for kind of clarification, whatever department uses it on all these contracts, the
It
charge goes to the.
Yes, it comes out of their budget. Yeah, so whatever division uses it, it comes out of their budgets.
On the bidding process, you have a number of people bidding, company bidding, right?
Yes, sir.
It wasn't necessarily the lowest one, but the best one, or
So the RFP on this one right here, this RFP was based on qualifications.
do you have criteria that they have?
Yes, sir, we had a bunch of criteria in the proposal that they had to meet. And based on the evaluation that the committee did, these two are the ones that we had about. And I believe, I want to say, there was 5 or 6, there was quite a few on that.
More than people,
Yeah,
this one,
and IT is the one who made the recommendation for these companies. It was not utilities.
so we're approving 3 companies?
Access control camera system services to next level, and I'll be completing this 2 of them.
Okay, so, what are the 2? Access control and camera?
No, it's next level and Albuquerque. Access control and camera system, that's the name of the contract.
Okay. Thank you.
And like I said, that if it happened that IT came over here and told utilities that we have to upgrade, you know, our system over here with IT, Well, we have a budget here and they would put together a scope of work. We can get these companies to come on and upgrade whatever it is. they do. And that's citywide, so. And that's our first of its kind.
It's all good.
I prefer more to have on contract, but like I said, IT is the one who made the decision and when they did the evaluation, so. That's up to them.
I just really want to have the most experience with the system. Is it But
Albuquerque cabling is familiarity with the city. And next level, their criteria just matched up with everything that we had, so that's why they recommended this.
that's good. Then I'll make a motion to approve RFP 2024-22. That's for September 16 services. The next level. Then we will go further on to 10 weeks and implementation.
Second motion.
I think we have a motion by Mike Martinez, a second by Judy, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, number 4, recommendation to award RFP number 2024-23 for concrete work services to Maximum Welding and Construction, Northeastern Construction, GM Emulsion, and JJ and Sons Excavation, and into contracts. This is the same basic thing, right?
On an as-needed basis, yes, sir. So right now, this is for concrete services. And we just didn't put it for sidewalks and put it other. We put it for a broader spectrum, so that way we can have more work done. So right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 contractors that this is a citywide contract. So I know that utilities, and I mean in utilities, the different divisions, they have a certain way of making sure that the job is done. There's certain criteria, just like Arnold's, they have certain criteria. So we just didn't want to limit it just to one contractor doing all the work. So that's why we brought it out and we added multiple contractors on this contract. And basically what it is citywide, here again, on an as-needed basis. It comes out of the division's budget, and it's up to the director to whom they want to use.
Yes, what they charge is, they're all the same. For all of them?
So basically what it is they have their labor rates and everything. I don't know if they have the labor rates on this, but they all have their labor rates and everything proposed. The only thing that separates them is the cost of material. Because you can't put the price on concrete because concrete fluctuates. And it seems to fluctuate from week to week.
But we're smarter on that. Everything's on there like the same.
No.
Hmm.
So they're rated. So Magnum came in, probably the cheapest. Northeastern came in after that. GM Motion came after that, and gave the Sound Cover came out the most expensive. I'd have to go back and put that. So, hold on.
So we're paying them all different for the same work.
So I'll tell you what it is. 49, 82, 472. Okay, so GM Motion came in number 1. Northeastern came in number 2. Magnum came in number 3. And Liberty South came in at number 4.
What's the difference?
The difference was like what the amount.
Usually.
Compliance. Meaning the licenses.
You're talking about the difference between the rates of hourly rates and stuff.
Yeah, because they know different has different rates. But
cost proposal, so the cost proposal. The cost proposal is pretty much all the same. So when it comes down to it, their costs are average with each other. If you look back over here where it has the scoring matrix, it'll tell you the scores that they got. So if you look at number 3, the cost proposal of 18, 17, and 20, they're all the same average.
Just similar, I think,
Yes.
I make a motion that we recommend to the council of the one, RFP number 2024-23 for concrete work services, Magnum Welding, Northeastern Construction, Jam and Motion, and JJ and Sons of that excavation.
And just to put a note on it, there's a lot of work, especially for concrete. So it's hard for one individual company or 2 individual companies to get all the work done throughout the city. It's too much because I've run into that problem, and I know Dave Marcus has run into that problem where I need these patches done, and then he needs these patches done, and then we're overloading the contractor. So
I don't know, sometimes, I kind of wonder if because, I mean, that's all good and dandy and all that, but sometimes, a person might think that they want to put a cap on this next. Because, let's say, put a cap on $250,000. And it's one of them. It can help you work, but only up to that amount. And I don't know if one would reach that point sooner than the other, in one year's time.
So-
are they all capable of doing those departments?
yes, yes, sir. So right now, basically what it is, and to Mr. Montoya's point, when we issue contracts like this, we develop a scope of work. And that scope of work falls under a task order. And that task order is based on the exceedance of a certain amount of what the project is. So if we have one contractor that's gonna go out and let's just say they're gonna do all of Dave's cuts, they're gonna go do all of Dave's concrete rehabs that he needs. Well, they will develop, okay, well, this is my budget, this is what I have, I'm gonna go ask him for a quote. Let's just say his budget is 20,000, he gets a quote for 15. Well, that task order is made to be to not exceed the 15,000. And everything that's on that task order reflects on the contract. So that it caps it on its own. That's it. And usually for stuff like that, especially with my division, when we do our task orders, we always add a contingency in there just in case.
So you're saying that there might be just 2 contractors that would want to do that, particular job. But at that price.
Well, we get their quote on what they're gonna quote us on. And then based on that quote, we develop the task order based on that. So that way they can't exceed of what's already written down.
So it doesn't really go by the contract itself.
Well, of course it goes by the contract because when they give us the quote, we fall back on their rates they gave us. So we verify the man hours because we always ask for an itemized invoice, especially or an itemized quote. So we know exactly what the man hours are gonna be, what their markups are gonna be, what materials they're gonna use, and we follow that criteria to make sure that Mr. Montoya says, so that way, basically, we make sure that they're on point. And we're not overpaying them. So I'm not sure how the other divisions are doing it. I know myself, utilities and gas and solid waste, we monitor ours and we always fall back on their rates and we verify that their rates are right with the project that they're doing.
Because normally, any department can get another one. That's it.
Now, based on these contractors, yes, sir.
But it's kind of important too that they also follow through they're not, with the request, that the people get paid. Because a lot of times, there's a few complaints out there that takes a while to get paid.
So when it comes down to it on a task order, they get paid every 30 days. Now, I've heard the same thing because I get paid calls too. So once we get their invoice, we stamp it, we make our copies here, they enter it in the system and it goes to finance.
Are you guys aware of that?
Well, we're not over that contract and we have,
Yeah, I know. But
we have the ambulance contract that we paid. So once we went back. Like 70 goes.
So
It's no road. Yeah, but no, our system is set up where once they submit that rewards. That's it, well, there's no holding it back unless there's a problem with it.
and I always tell the contractors to submit their invoices either on Thursday or Friday. Because we submit it that Thursday and Friday, and of course it takes a week to get processed. Or up to 2 weeks to get processed to finance. So I always tell them to submit it that Thursday or Friday, so that way when Monday comes, it's already in financial side. And then they get the check in the mail, I guess. They believe that's how it still works. I'm not sure on how they get the final payment. Like I said, that's a different reason.
Because I've seen some contractors submit an invoice and want to get paid.
Yeah. And when they sign the contract, we make sure that it's in the contract that they will be paid anywhere between 14 and 30 days.
Okay, my motion died, that's for the second.
There was a motion on the floor, also looking at. There was a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Sweeney, and all in favor? Opposed?
That was my fault for that.
And was there a monthly report?
Unfortunately, I haven't finished my monthly report. As you guys know, my monthly reports are anywhere between 30 to 40 pages. And this time I have a lot to add to it, so I'm not technically done, but I can send you guys a copy of the report once it is finalized.
Sounds good. Project status.
Track plan right now, we are finalizing it on Friday. I think we're gonna have a final walkthrough on the track back system. SCADA project right now is 75% complete. We just lack the filter building and we lack the tier lab. Right now, we're kind of on hold because we are going through the process of redoing the filters. So we're hoping to get that up and running as soon as possible.
I'm sorry. The filters replacement?
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's the track.
No. The track back is up in the up there to clarify.
What's this?
So right now, the filter beds, we went for Molding Corbin. Molding Corbin is getting a contractor right now. And they should have something for me tomorrow. And once we get that, then they'll be able to give us the estimable time for construction.
That's another thing we have said.
The way that it's going right now, we have SCADA and we finished the raw water building. And basically right now, everything is running on flow. And meaning that when the tank at the cabin site is full, the plant will either slow the, well, or it'll slow the flow or it'll go into, sorry, I forgot the term of when, an idle. The plant will go in idle. It's all dependent on the cabin site thing. So whenever the cabin site thing starts to lower, the plant will start increasing flow in the SCADA, and that's all run through the SCADA. And it's working right now. It's working awesome. So we just need to do the clear well building now and the filter building.
So when the see, the tank, No, it's SCADA line.
No, SCADA was not. It was, basically, during that whole time, SCADA, that part of SCADA, they were leaving it. Leaving it installed. Yes, sir. 127 tests we do a month. And now we're gonna come back people.
Potable.
Well,
That's what they're.
nobody wants to use potable before they want to know it's drinkable, so.
It's all sleeped up.
Like my grandpa used to say, well, the rivers, the water in the river is potable. Well, not by the standards that we have. That's why it's drinkable.
All right, do we have any announcements? Yes, we know that on June the what was the next amnesty?
June seventh,
Seven.
June seventh, this is.
And any comments from members?
I have a, not a comment, but a question. Have you drawn any of, the city's water stores and storage?
No, sir, we're at max capacity at 850.
So we haven't drawn any.
No, sir, we are full to capacity at Bradner, we're full to capacity at Peterson, and we're full to capacity with, Story Lake. Yes, sir, we've been running off the river and we're gonna keep doing it until need be, but right now, like I said, I have my staff making sure that we're taking every drop of water and we're saving every drop of water.
Now that we have the new, well, the weather prediction of with the storm all of next week. If anything out of the ordinary happens, it could be handled right.
Yes, sir.
It's, I've seen a lot of people not a lot, some people, you know, where there's not gonna be a big flood in Vegas, so it's all right.
We learned a lot from the last flood, so there's a lot of steps that we take for precaution now. So
You're not here, everything happens at once.
oh yeah, that's the Vegas for you. And if you guys want to do an announcement, you know, when they start doing the drilling, if you guys want, I can contact you when they're doing it, and you guys can go see it first. And you'll see how they just go and they start taking their samples and everything.
Okay, next regular meeting, June the 5th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Call this meeting adjourned at 2:21 p.m.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.